Hello, I'm Elysia, and this is the Lorehounds, your guides to the many sides of Amelia Harcourt.
Hi, I'm Aaron from Radioactive Ramblings, ready to remind Economos that he does indeed have the right to remain silent.
And I'm Jean, checking in with a big fat bag of rocks. Wait a minute. A big fat bag of I told you so's. And this is Comic Versus Talks the DCUniverse. Here to break down Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 6, Ignorance is Chris.
So, as usual, we are going to jump straight into the spoilers for this episode. If you want to hear some spoiler-free discussion of the series overall, check out the beginning of our Season 1 recap. You'll find linked in the show notes. But we reserve the right today to bring up anything from DC movies, television, comics, anything related to that. Ignorance is Chris is the episode title today. I think it's clear what that means. Like, we saw Harcourt is there for like 5 minutes and she's already like, this doesn't look right around here. So I just think, I don't know, Jean, why do you think Chris, it took him so long, other than obviously his unconscious racist bias, as we've talked about before?
That's the only reason. It's the racist bias.
But we have to make a difference here. We have to make a difference here between people like his father, who are just, are just very like gung-ho racist, the pushing this dimension to be what it is, and people like Chris, who are, to be honest, like a lot of people who I know who are like, I'm definitely not racist. I'm sure there's people listening who are like, I'm definitely not racist. But then it's just, I think the reason beyond unconscious biases is that things were too good for Chris. He didn't want to see, and I see this all the time right now. People don't want to see that things are bad for other people, because as long as they're not bad for them. People just, life is tough and people are anxious and they don't want to admit that things are wrong if they don't feel personally affected.
And that is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the larger problem. And that is why I feel such disdain for Chris. Because people who live that way, I can't live that way.
Yeah.
Simply because of
you're not given the opportunity.
What I look like.
Yeah.
So I don't have the luxury of being able to bury my head in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who would be allies to say they don't see it, only until it materially affects them, that is problematic.
Yes.
Because that is not allyship.
Yeah.
So I don't make great distinctions between overt racist and racism and those who pretend that it doesn't affect anyone until it affects them.
Right.
So yeah.
And this is where people don't like when people say, I don't see color.
He literally doesn't see color. It's like that's the literal thing in this episode. Is like he's walking with a like a billboard on top of his head that says, I don't see color.
Yeah. I mean, this is true, but I think I to be honest, I think if I hadn't, like, my personal experience as a human being on this planet was when I was, and I'm grateful for this, when I was a child, my parents were divorced, and when I stayed with my father, I was literally the only white kid in that neighborhood, and people would point it out to me all the time. And I'm actually really grateful for it as an adult, because it led to a lot of conversations that I probably otherwise wouldn't have had. And I think that there are a lot of people who see themselves as good people and, would say, like, I would vote for civil rights, but all this stuff. But if you haven't been forced to confront these things one way or another, your biases, you might let your biases rule just because it's the easier thing to do for you at the moment.
And before Aaron jumps in, I just want to say, I think this is a central theme to Chris having to be forced to hold the mirror to himself and understanding where he fails, how he's failed, and the way that he was raised having affected him in the way that it affects him, in ways that he may not consciously be aware of, but the people around him suffer because of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it really does speak to the larger cultural conversation that we've been having lately, where it's not enough to just not be racist. You have to be actively anti-racist.
Right.
And it's a conscious thing that you have to be thinking about all the time, especially when you're not part of a community that has historically been the target of racism.
Right. Well said. Well said. All right. Well, getting into the episode itself, the tagline is as the 11th Street kids fight to bring their missing member home, Flag doubles down on his efforts to hold Peacemaker accountable. And Aaron, sticking with you, what are your overall thoughts on this episode?
I mean, we all guessed it. If you were on the internet listening to this podcast, whatever, you probably knew that this was coming. But nonetheless, I think that James Gunn made the reveal pretty well done. I don't want to say
Mhm.
satisfying. That feels like the wrong
Impactful.
yeah, impactful. I mean, and it just brings up all these questions about how much of a monster is Chris? I mean, he killed all of those Sons of Liberty a few episodes ago, and now we're finding out that, oh, these are most certainly the good guys in this
Right.
universe, even if they're maybe not doing the most helpful thing by robbing a bank. I don't know that they were really accomplishing too much with that, but they were definitely on the side of good in this universe. And I'm also getting fed up with Economos. I think he needs to learn how to shut up every once in a while. That whole
Mhm.
scene with August was just ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not his best moment. Not his best moment.
Mm-mm.
And he even realizes it's not his best moment.
No, he
Yeah.
knows. He knows.
He
Or
knows.
he's the first one to call himself a coward and, say everything that's wrong with him.
Sometimes you got to stay in the car, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got
He
to
would
stay in
just
the
be
car.
sitting in the car outside
Yes.
Vigilante's house
Yes,
for
yes,
days.
yes, absolutely. Sometimes you got to stay in the car and let the people who do the thing, let them go do the thing. It's
He would
okay.
just
We still love you.
he'd be having sandwiches with Mrs. Chase while they waited.
Yes, all of that.
What's your overall thoughts on the episode, Sean?
Oh man. Okay, so again, to touch on what we just spoke about, Chris having to be told that there are only white people in this universe is why I can't trust him. I just can't trust him. I don't. I refuse to, and I'm not letting my guard down around Peacemaker at any time. No.
Fair.
Yeah.
Hardcore let her guard down, and that surprised me. She showed a side that I think has been missing, and I can respect it. I don't hate her, but I still don't like her.
Okay, that's progress.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't hate her. I don't hate her. After the episode, I was like, okay, all right. Yeah.
She's a human with feelings.
She's trying. She's trying, at least, I think. I think she's trying. So, yeah. I don't like her, but I don't hate her. Definitely. So she's moved up on my list,
All right.
The scene with Adebayo running down the block, man, that shit hit me. That really, I had like a visceral, like, fuck. Like, while watching it, I was so angry. It made me so upset, so mad to see them chasing her, call out, there's the black, get the black. That really hit a nerve. Like, I wanted to jump into the screen and just go back to back with Adebayo and we go down swinging together. Fuck it. That's what we got to do. That's how we gonna do it. That was such a powerful moment for me. And I would say that was one of the more powerful moments on a TV show that I've experienced in quite a long time.
So you are happy that they're tackling this storyline?
Yeah. I'm glad that they're doing it, unlike, certain other Um,
You mean a certain Disney-owned
no, not
superhero
this.
franchise? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
Were
too,
they
and certain other corps that are caving in and shelving already done programming that was set to come out. I'm talking about
yeah,
Apple
Apple.
TV.
Right.
Is Yeah. So, and I understand that in an alternate universe, in a comic book movie, you can do that a little bit more. You can feel a little bit more
Right.
detached,
Like, we're not
right? Because,
talking about us,
right,
wink.
right, exactly. But I'm very happy that they're doing this. I thought the Lex reveal was really cool because I wasn't expecting Lex personally to be the person that he went to see. But it made sense, and I love that they showed that he was still suffering from the beatdown at the hand of Soups and Crypto.
Yeah.
Like his injuries having miraculously, he didn't suffer any injuries after what we saw in the movie. Like he's really hurt, like broken bones and shit like that. And I was so happy that they did that. And then last was just like, we got two vigilantes and a vigilante mom. I mean, what else is there to say about that? That's just really cool to see on screen, and it was a pleasant break from what else was going on in the episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this was a really fun one. I mean, it was a fun one to watch, but it also has been a fun one to watch the internet respond to. The internet's going wild for this one. It's definitely it's got, we've been talking a bit about the ratings all season. This is clears the others with a 9.3 on IMDb, which is quite high. And I mean, it was Adrian's episode to shine, the internet's I think I'm gonna call it autistic ace boyfriend. So I can understand why, that there's a lot of humor obviously provided there when they let him riff, but also this satisfaction. I think I saw like it was 50-50 online, it seemed like, where I was looking, which was mostly on Blue Sky. Um, and half the people were like, whoa, didn't see that coming. And the other half were like, I knew it. But, like Aaron was saying, it's still satisfying.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, with Adrian given so much a chance to shine, it meant we still haven't been getting enough Flurry, not nearly enough Eagly this episode, though he got a good scene. And where's Judo Master? I am afraid for Judo Master at the moment.
Yeah. I think Judo Master's hiding out in the woods somewhere. He saw what was going on and he ran.
Yeah. Yeah, he's green, so that's a good place to blend in.
Where are the butterflies? That's what he's wondering. Where are the butterflies?
Yeah, see, this is why we need the butterflies, y'all. um, yeah, obviously the ending on that. If this ended on a cliffhanger, I don't necessarily mind it, although it did make me like, I want next week. It would be the kind what John would say was the bad kind of cliffhanger where Adebayo's running, Amelia's about to get arrested, Economos has a knife through his hand.
That's brutal.
Yeah. But yeah, Adebayo is running. It was giving me 28 Days Later with the chasing, like the mindless zombies chasing her.
That's a good catch. Yeah, definitely.
But also just the moment she said she was going to go out for a walk, it reminded me of I don't know if you guys ever watched this Steve McQueen show that came out in 2020 called Small Axe, and it's on Prime, and each episode is a different film about like the Black experience in Britain, basically. And the second one's called Lovers Rock, and it's set at the entire episode is just people having a house party. But then anytime they go outside, there's tension, and that's what it's about. It's about this safe space inside where people just dancing to music and, kissing or, just living their lives, and then having to step outside into that world where there are white people and yeah, just the tension that came out of it. And that's exactly the first thing I thought of when Adebayo said she wanted to take a walk.
And that's something we spoke about a lot in Sinners as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That safe space,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and oh my gosh, and she's like, would she say it's safer out there than in here, because she's thinking
God.
she's thinking that,
Yeah.
what's his face? Augie's gonna come home or something, which also correct. But yeah. Whew, yeah. James Gunn, he said on the official podcast or that no one in test audiences
Oh,
guessed the
gosh.
twist. And he was like, he wasn't surprised it got out. He says it takes just one person to notice. But I think a lot of people, including us,
Yeah.
independently noticed.
Yeah. Like, I'm confused. Who was this test audience?
To be fair, we're watching it as podcasters is a bit different than watching it as random people, because
No,
I
I'm
mean,
not taking that.
I'm
No,
always scanning the background.
no way. No way. I refuse to accept that
Okay.
as
All
an
right. Fair.
excuse. No.
Fair. But it was just
Who is the
also,
test audience? That's what I want the test audience. I want to see their faces.
it was
I
like
want to know who they are.
Augie's still wearing a mostly white dragon costume. Like, why is he happy in this universe? I
Right.
immediately had questions. I was looking for answers.
Immediately.
Something suspicious.
What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, to go back to the scene where Adebayo says she wants to go on a walk, I felt kind of like Walter White in Ozymandias, that episode of
Ah.
Breaking Bad, if you're familiar, where he's yelling out the window, "No, don't do it, don't do
Yes.
it."
Yes.
That's how I felt during that whole scene. But yeah, it felt so glaring to us as audience members, kind of because we were looking for it, or maybe we were part of this broader conversation, but I think that most people did notice it. So it is surprising to hear that the test audience had no idea. Maybe they don't have that comic background to know that Universe X or whatever it's called is a thing or whatever, but just the fact that, like you said, Elysia, August is happy in this universe raises questions in and of
Yeah.
itself.
I mean, I noticed that there were only white people before I knew Universe X was a thing in the comics, because I'm not
Right.
as familiar with the DC comics as the Marvel. I mean,
And I didn't even think about Earth X
yeah,
before we, talked
it's
about it
such
on
a
the pod. Right.
vast amount of comics,
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. And it's like immediately I clocked it.
Yeah. I mean, so there were also clues all along, of course. Another one that I only picked up this week because subscribers will know that we just put out our September 11sies, which, the movie club this week, it was musicals month and the producers one. So we did a lore down between the two different versions of the producers, which have either of you watched the producers?
I have. I've seen
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
I have not.
So it's, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a satire. Originally, it's from Mel Brooks about making a musical about Hitler, and so in the musical, there's a song called "Springtime for Hitler," and they start doing a dance where the way they hold their arms at right angles mimics swastikas, and after seeing that in the producers, watching the opening to Peacemaker this week, there were also characters making swastika arms when they were doing that dance.
Amazing.
It's a good catch. I was definitely paying attention a little bit closer to the opening this week to see if I could spot any differences from the last week. I couldn't pick them out myself, but I'm
No.
sure some eagle-eyed viewer can definitely do it.
I have to see if I can figure out how to make a video that's like 8 videos next to each other, just playing all the intros at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be dope. That would be dope.
Yeah. All right. Well, so this episode, like all, written by James Gunn. This one was directed by James Gunn. He directed 3 of them this season. The first one, this one, and the finale. So those are the ones that he's most personally passionate about. This was the shortest yet at 36 minutes, but was a packed 36 minutes. Do you have any final thoughts about final opening thoughts before we take a break and get into the episode itself?
No.
I do just want to call attention to something that James Gunn recently said, which was that he didn't say where or when it would happen, but he did confirm at some point there's going to be a live action GI robot.
Okay, this is GI Robot's moment.
Yeah.
Oh, what if the Creature Commandos came through?
That would be pretty awesome.
Somebody got to come through.
Yeah.
Somebody got to go to Earth X and start killing Nazis. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
I'm so excited to see the last 2 episodes, but I'm also excited to talk about this one. So let's take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll talk about episode 6, Ignorance is Chris. All right, so we're going to do a plot arc by plot arc breakdown as usual, not scene by scene. Do you want to set us up, Jean, for first?
Yeah, Mama Chase Place. Hawkeye reveals that Argus does not know Vigilante's real identity and where he lives, so they head to his house to set up the QUC so they can reach Chris. At Adrian's house, Vigilante is rude to his mother. Very devoted mother. Is he a little bit overly devoted? I don't know. And reveals his own secret storage chamber. A room in his basement where he stashed all the drugs and money he's taken from his vigilante raids after killing all of the bad guys. It's also where he stores his personal collectibles, like an obscene number of Beanie Babies, which are totally about to make a comeback. Adebayo sets up the door. The boom of it unleashes blowing hurricane of cocaine and all other drugs all over the 11th Street kids, who then go through the door, find their way to the other lookalike door where Adrian finds that the same code he saw Chris use in their own universe works here too. So, what do you guys think? What was the most fun thing that you got from this part of the episode? I know what mine was.
What was yours?
I mean, Vigilante and his mom.
Okay.
My gosh. Wow.
Why was he was so mean to her?
Mean. Yeah. It was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, but it totally tracks with him though, because he does have a mean streak. He can be a little, he's a murderous psychopath. He goes on killing sprees.
Well, yeah. And I guess he takes her for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like she's his caretaker, which he doesn't readily acknowledge.
Yeah.
So let's check in on that conversation to set it up.
Adrian!
Hi, Mom. We're going to my secret room. You're not allowed to follow.
Hi, Mrs. Chase. I'm Lee, Adrian's friend. His friend? Oh, Adrian doesn't bring his friends around very often. Not since the D&D group broke up. Oh. He didn't have enough players, so I became a 40th level cut person.
Jesus, Mom, what part of you're not allowed to follow don't you understand?
Oh, I'm sorry, Adrian. I'm
if
so
you're sorry, why are you still coming? Jesus, fuck. Anyone else here have a mom who's a fucking tick on your dick all the time?
Mean.
You must be John.
Uh-huh. Jesus.
You're not that dorky. And don't tell me this is hardcore?
Shut up, Mom.
Harcourt, not hardcore.
Oh, I thought it was hard.
You're not alone, but no.
So
terrible.
Awful.
I have a confession that for most of the first season of the show, I did think her name was Hardcore instead of Harcourt.
Really? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, okay, let's there's a lot to unpack there.
Yes.
First of all, are we surprised that Argus had someone working for them, granted in an unofficial capacity, without knowing who they really were? That they didn't know who Vigilante is Adrian Chase?
How
Yes.
much connection did Vigilante ever have to Argus during that? Or was he just kind of an addition because Chris was there?
He just kind of joined in, and Amanda Waller's like, fine, he kills people. That's great.
Right.
So I don't think he was ever put on the books. But still, I mean, I guess that goes back to Waller again, just kind of
winging it at that point.
Being more kind of sloppy in her secretiveness, I guess.
Maybe a little bit of hubris on her part.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because she's the type of person to know everything, all the movement parts, so she could have, leverage on people so that they don't know who he is. Kind of, made me think that at the end, Amanda was not working at her best. Maybe because of her daughter was involved, but who knows? There was something that was not right with the way that she was operating at the end.
Especially when we get that scene that's played for laughs during this episode where Vigilante sees a car coming and he jumps into the bushes. I just couldn't stop thinking to myself, this is the guy whose identity they can't figure out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I also question, I thought that they could sense when the rift was open, but they can't sense where. Is that the deal? They talk about this Maridol radar and it's popping on and off that. But apparently Rick needs Lex's help to pinpoint where it's coming from, and Hardcore thought this was enough. Let's just go to an address they don't know.
Yeah, I thought that they knew it was coming from Chris's home because they had eyes on Chris's home when he opened it.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I think you're right in that they couldn't pinpoint. They knew it was happening, but they were unable to pinpoint exactly where until they put eyes on Chris and they were like, oh, this is where it's happening.
Okay. All right.
I think Economos told them, no? It wasn't like they saw it. It's like Economos told them that it was
a portal?
Yeah. That something just flashed in the house. And I think that's when they put eyes on that particular signature in that particular location.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, Aaron, you were annoyed with Economos about
Yes.
about saying too much. He says here, like, that he only is going along because he's incredibly susceptible to peer pressure. Are you, with that and what he does with Augie later, are you worried about him ratting out the 11th Street kids to Argus? Or do you think that's going to be like a hero moment for him to not do that?
I do think I was being a little bit hard on him before.
No, you
I think
weren't.
I think at the end he'll do the right thing, but Economos, he's susceptible not only to peer pressure, but I think that he's susceptible to very in the moment fear, and I was a little disappointed not only with the fact that he did his whole reveal of their entire plan, but the fact that August comes into the house and he ducks behind the counter instead of running into the next room. I was like, oh man, you had time to get to the next room. I'm really hoping he doesn't end up betraying them. He's been on a good enough streak so far overcoming his cowardice, and I don't want to see him break that fully.
Last season, he got a few good action moments. This season, that's not happening. So I feel like there's got to be this overcoming cowardice theme they've set up.
Yeah. I wonder if they're trying to play into any kind of Wizard of Oz trope with this upside down universe and courage and everything. Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, I see. Okay. So if this were the Wizard of Oz group, I'm not sure if we have so if he were the Cowardly Lion, is Peacemaker Dorothy?
Maybe we need to get him a pair of ruby slippers. See what happens.
Oh
gosh. Who is the Tin Man? The one who's missing heart? Hardcore, of course. Who is the Scarecrow? The one missing? Oh, that would be Vigilante. Oh, this works.
So who's out of bio?
Who's out of bio?
Yeah,
she is not Toto.
Galinda?
Oh, could be, or Alphaba.
Yeah, depending. Yeah, definitely.
Which is that's wicked. Yeah, that's not Wizard.
No, but still, we love Alphaba over here.
Mm-hmm. Well, listeners, if jump onto Discord or send us an email if you have thoughts about the Wizard of Oz analogy for Peacemaker. But it works, Aaron. Good call.
I could be just grasping at straws. Let me know, listeners, what you think.
I love straw grasping.
Yes.
Makes for the best of conversations.
Speaking of straw grasping, back to the DC question, Sean. This one's for you.
Okay.
So I saw it pointed out online. Someone was saying back to the mother box question. We talked about,
Mhm.
is this technology that's allowing them to access the QUC, is that linked to this mother box concept from the comics, or people might be familiar with it from, they said it like 1,000 times in the Justice League movie. Um, isn't part of the mother box traveling through dimensions through something called a boom tube? And I saw
Yes,
someone point out online that this one goes boom when you set up the wormhole.
it does, and you get this massive blowback. But I'm still not convinced.
But you did say, because this is another thing that connects to, you brought up the New Gods, which, leads
Yes,
to a popular DC villain called Darkseid. You did point out that there are references adding up, right?
yeah. The whole thing that I thought about with the alternate dimensions when we spoke about it
Mhm.
was when they said gods and monsters. That was what this arc of Gunn's new universe is going to take shape. Um, I thought they were talking heroes and villains,
Mm.
but with the introduction of traveling between dimensions and thinking about who travels between dimensions very easily in DC Comics, that's when I came to think about it as maybe we're talking about new gods, which are,
Mhm.
the introduction of Dark Side and Highfather and Apocalypse and New Genesis, these other,
Wait, so there's also an Apocalypse because Marvel has one.
yes,
So
this is
DC also are they similar?
no,
The Marvel? No.
no, because this is totally different. These two planets that sit outside of time and space. This is where the new gods reside. They are literally sitting outside of time and space, but they can travel into wherever they want to travel via the mother boxes.
Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah, I thought about the new gods in
Mhm.
relations to that. Maybe he's teasing that in a way that I didn't think about at first because I squarely thought about villains and heroes, gods and monsters. But now I'm thinking maybe it's priming us for the introduction of Darkseid and that whole storytelling of the New Gods saga in the DC universe.
Okay. All right. Well, you brought up a vigilante's mom, so let's steer back toward her. Now, we find out that she's been sitting in on D&D sessions with Adrian when his group got too small. Have either of you played D&D?
Not in forever.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat. It's been a really long time. I feel like D&D is one of those games that if you don't have 8
Yeah.
hours to commit to it on a weekend, like, but yeah, like any young nerd, I definitely tried my hand at it.
I mean, you don't hate, just for the people at home, FYI, it's so much, it comes down to the dungeon master because they can you can totally do 2-hour sessions, especially with certain campaigns. But anyway, D&D might work a little bit differently in the DCU because the original D&D apparently did go to level 36, but today in our world, it's pretty much kept at level 20. Like you don't get any benefits beyond that. And people don't usually play at those top levels anyway because it's not. It takes a really long time to get there, but also, the way that the campaigns and everything, the way that the monsters are, um, the what do you call it? The not the specs, the stats for the monsters and stuff. Yeah, it apparently it gets less interesting when characters get too high. So being a level 40 cut purse, by which I guess she means rogue, or maybe this is the alternate universe version. um I'm just going to assume. I feel like Mrs. Chase would have gotten really into it and probably would have learned things that Adrian didn't know and pissed him off by correcting him because you know
Yes,
how he is with facts.
yes,
Do you guys think he would be the best or the worst person to play D&D with?
worst.
Definitely the worst, yeah.
He's got such an imagination. His stories would be fun
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah,
with
I think
him.
if you did something that strayed outside of his idea of how the game should go, he would
Oh yeah.
definitely get a little upset about that.
That's true. And I bet sessions were like, 10 minutes, 10 hours long.
Yeah. I think this whole episode had me so shocked at the way he spoke to his mother. I just,
Mhm.
I don't know if when either of you were kids, you would go and see how your childhood friends would talk to their parents and be in absolute shock and horror at how some people would speak to their parents. And that's the kind of the experience I had while watching this episode was, wow, I can't imagine ever doing that to my mother.
Yeah, and she was so like, she seemed so concerned for him, which is fair. Um, she was so glad to see he had friends. But, there was no mention. I really wanted mention of Gut Chase because we heard that that's his brother, that's how Peacemaker knows him in the first place. No idea how he fits into the picture. What's your headcanon, Aaron, right now for Gut Chase?
I think he's just off doing his own thing. He probably lives on his own. He doesn't have the vigilante at home basement cave.
Yeah, I am somehow doubting the brothers get along.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Especially knowing that Chris and Gut Chase were friends earlier in their life.
Right.
I
Right.
just can't imagine Vigilante having a compatible personality.
No.
He's so unfiltered, you know, and I realized that prior to this episode. But watching him talk to his mom, the way that he talked to his mom was just like, you know, he's not socially awkward is not the right term. You know, it's just because like, you know, Aaron, I could never imagine speaking to my parents in the way that he spoke to them, to
Right.
his mom. And I don't think any of the childhood friends that I had, I never heard anyone speak to their parents in the
Right.
way that he did. So it just speaks to him, and maybe that's why he's such a good vigilante.
Mm.
You know, because he's so single-minded and sees the world in just this very stark black white, and he, even with his loved ones, he's like, this is how it is, this is what I feel, this is what I'm going to say, and if you cross that line as what he considers to be a criminal, that's your ass. So
Mhm.
this is, you know, it tracks with who he is as a character in the suit for him to be this way outside of the suit.
Right.
But then we find out he was also lying, which you would think would be against his code. He's been lying to his mom, particularly about hardcore, probably because his mom was like, "Why don't you have a nice girl?" And he's like, "I don't like girls or being touched." And so he told her he was dating with hardcore, but broke up with her because she's too slutty. But Mrs. Chase doesn't think that's a problem because she's a modern woman. So I'm wondering if part of it is like he was being so mean to his mom because he didn't want her to say something like she ended up saying. I do have to give Hardcore some credit. She's rapidly like I said, yeah, I think my three favorites are still my three favorites. Nothing's going to change that, but she remains or becomes an even more solid fourth favorite.
Okay.
I thought it was cool of her not to rat him out, for example, in this instance.
Yeah,
Es-
definitely. Definitely.
es- Especially after he says,
Yeah, that was so weird. She has dementia. I think she was confusing me with my other girlfriend.
Weird. Yeah.
Also, sometimes I have to say stuff to hide that I'm out doing superhero stuff.
Yeah, like I'm slutty.
Well, yeah, I have to base it in some truth.
we've not seen Hardcore be particularly slutty. I guess she was the other woman with but he doesn't know that with Rick Jr. But I guess he's jealous. What do you think, Aaron? Is he just jealous of her and Chris? Is that why he's lashing out?
I think so. I also think that Vigilante has a certain tendency to make up things in the moment if he thinks it's going to help his case. keep thinking back to that hilarious scene from the first season where he invites his coworker to an abortion that doesn't exist.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, and I feel for him because I think he doesn't even know himself well enough to articulate how to just reset his mom's expectations. But to hear him say, it's up to a mature man to teach his partner how making love can be a way to connect. And Adrian has been made it very clear to viewers, at least, that he is asexual. So that's not, yeah, that's probably what's rubbing him the wrong way, I guess. That's making him lash out at her. That sort of thing.
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I think, when you said, he the lie, it made me think of what else, like, out of all the people that he's killed in his superheroing,
Mhm.
how many of them deserve to die? Like, what crimes? Because we see the stash from the drug dealers or whatever. But who else has he killed because
Right.
of
And I
how
don't think
he's
dealing drugs means you should die,
right,
personally.
right. So, but in that vein, like, what else does he hold to be a capital offense?
Mhm.
Right. So
He
I don't know.
said graffiti last season.
He did say, yeah, that's right.
I think he also said jaywalking, which would make a lot of us targets.
So, I don't know if lying about, to keep something from his mom, lying to his mom is not outside of his code.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think the facts that he tells about animals that are not facts, he knows they're not facts. He knows
Crocodiles don't have 4 stomachs.
right. Like, so, he's doing this to have conversation, to be interesting, to look interesting to others, because he thinks that's what's going to make him interesting to other people, because he doesn't have a way to connect. He doesn't know how to do that, which you can see in his attempts to be, best friends with Chris. And Chris also doesn't have a way to connect to other men, right? In a way that's honest and, truthful. So, yeah, it's just, he's such a problematic character, Vigilante is. And I think this exchange with his mother just highlights that.
Yeah, well put. A question, Adebayo, we keep calling her Adebayo, the name of the woman who wants to divorce her, I suppose, or at least separated. She introduced herself as Lee to Mrs. Chase, as in short for Leota, which is her first name. Should we be calling her Lee? Is that how she wants to be known? Or is it too late? She's Adebayo forever.
We see her close friends within the 11th Street kids calling her ads.
That's true.
So maybe it's just dependent on the situation. Certain nicknames or names for certain situations.
All right. I'll be tracking what she calls herself to other people. Yeah, so that room of drugs and money. Now we know Hardcore and Adebayo have been struggling.
Lee.
Sorry, Lee, or what are we calling her? Ads. Hardcore and Ads have been struggling. And we hear this.
Adrian, just last week you told me you were broke and asked me to pay for your breakfast.
Well, I'm not gonna use this, man. No way. It's blood money. You crazy?
Aaron, would you use the blood money? Would you take the blood money and stuff it in your pants like they were doing?
Oh, absolutely. There's no way I would be able to turn down a room full of cash like that. I might even start selling the drugs if I had all that on hand.
I mean, as someone who's also been struggling with the bills, like, oh man. I did look it up, and the Beanie Babies are not worth much anymore. I found
they're not making a comeback. That's what you're saying.
I do have. Oh, here I have another show and tell that listeners can't see, but I have the giant version of Stretch the ostrich. I agree that it's the cutest.
That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's we get more of Vigilante's messed up code. He's afraid he wouldn't give the drugs to the cops because he's afraid that the cops would use it themselves, and he won't flush it down the toilet because he's protecting the alligators or whatever in the sewer. Sean, are there like in Marvel there are the Morlocks, which X-Men fans will be familiar with, named after the H.G. Wells type of being. Are there sewer dwellers in the DC that you know of?
In the DC universe? Wow. Way to put me on the spot with a quiz, man.
Sorry. I said that you know of. It's an endless universe. You can't know it all. It's
I'll
impossible.
think about this question and I will answer it at an appropriate time, which is not now.
Fair. I did take note that although they were coated with drugs, I would expect them to have a bunch of paper cuts from the money.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I felt bad for Mom, who heard that big boom and now is just going to wonder what happened to her son, who was willing to stay in the other universe and not even come back. Anyway, Aaron, were you happy to see the alien neighbor back?
Yeah, I've been wanting to see so much more of him this season, especially because he's been in that opening credit scene or opening dance scene every single week. I keep waiting for something important to be related to this character, but I don't know, it might just be a recurring joke, which I would also be completely happy with because it's pretty funny seeing them try and say hi to this alien creature who has absolutely no interest in the rest of them, just wants to incinerate his rats.
Yeah. I don't know what he's up to, but yeah, and we finally found the Last Dance member of the opening with Mrs. Chase. We finally met.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's interesting that they, for reasons we'll pick up again as we discuss another scene later, but it's interesting here that they point out that different hand gestures mean different things in different places. So they were saying like the peace sign means up yours in the UK, which is not entirely true because you would flip it around and do like a sort of upward motion up yours, you know? But yeah, same good points. There's the okay sign in the US can mean like the equivalent of asshole in a lot of other places in South America, I believe. But sorry, I'm about to throw a little bit of shade on
Oh
Johnny
boy.
Storm
Oh boy.
from the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
But I loved when Adrian said, waving means your son should die. And they're like, no. And he says, but he points out that it's such a simple gesture to mean something so complicated that you'll hardly ever say. And for this reason, I believe that Adrian could unlock the secret language of the Silver Surfer and 15 other alien worlds before Johnny Storm could.
No. Let me stand up for Johnny and say absolutely not. No. Okay. No.
Adrian is showing a much better basic understanding of the principles of linguistics than Johnny ever did.
Johnny solved the problem.
No,
That's all I got to say.
That was lazy movie magic.
He solved the problem. That's all I got to say. And you can take your science and you can kick rocks with the science because magic works. That's it.
In this case, science is more interesting. Anyway, sorry, that is my plot hole pet peeve of the year.
I think Adrian would come up with a solution to the problem. Would it be the right solution? He certainly would.
Maybe not.
I think he has the tools to do it, but he might just say like they were saying and just make things up. Which is why I think he would be fun at D&D.
Yeah.
Interesting that they could find the door. It makes sense. It looks exactly the same. 100 doors is a finite amount of space.
Right.
But it's interesting that our Chris never found it before. I guess, to be fair, since he wasn't we know the other Chris was running through and chasing imps through the QUC and stuff as a child. Our Chris presumably didn't have the chance because he didn't have that relationship with his dad. Is that the explanation, do you think?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it's all about the father. It's all about the father, yes. He didn't let them do those things. Like he hoarded all of that for himself until he could, rope Chris into using some of the technology that he found. So yeah.
All right. Aaron, do you want to set up the back to Belle Reeve?
Absolutely. Back at Argus HQ, Flurry tells Rick that Peacemaker, Harcourt, Economos, and Judo Master are all missing. Rick flies to Louisiana to meet with a prisoner at Belle Reeve, Lex Luthor. He asks him for his help finding the portal to the QUC, and in exchange he will transfer Lex to another prison and offer him an opportunity for redemption. Back at Argus HQ, Rick updates an anxious Sasha about his visit with Lex. He tells her that they are now partners with Lex Luthor. Man, this was a crazy cameo. I was not expecting them to
Yep.
bring Lex Luthor into this episode.
I'm pouring myself some internet points. I
Yes,
did
you
say
can.
anyway. Sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
I was just going to say that I'm so used to these TV projects being at a different operational level than the main universe. And I think that James Gunn is really trying to make us believe that this isn't Marvel where certain characters just can never show up for budgetary reasons or because they're part of a story that's much bigger. This is just as important as the rest of his universe, as opposed to, some of the Marvel stuff where the TV shows seem like they're less connected.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, I think that's also, I think one smart thing is keeping it to scale, not promising a million different things, but saying like, okay, we're going to just, here's our core. We've established our core of this DCU and we're just going to build out as fits from here. And also, I think another thing that helps is they film all these things in Atlanta on the studio there, and they had, I suppose intentionally so, crossover between Superman and Peacemaker filming to allow for these cameos from the Superman movie to show up. So that's probably what made this possible. I do have to say this scene made me appreciate that Rick did have an arc in Superman, even if it's not an arc I liked, where basically he started with, as we saw him in Creature Commandos, he was working with, I don't know if you would call the Creature Commandos metahumans, but he was working more or less with metahumans to, by now, he's blaming them and Peacemaker, even though he's not metahuman, for all of his problems.
Yeah. I wonder if, given everything that he now knows about his son, would he still make the decision to work with the Creature Commandos if that opportunity were presented to him now instead of before?
Yeah. We know there's a season 2 coming. Have you watched Creature Commandos, Aaron?
I'm actually 3 episodes in. I've been watching it to try and catch up, and I've been loving it so far. I think it's a really well done show.
Yeah. Yeah, especially I've been doing deep dive into Frankenstein and the Bride stuff. And I think in a lot of ways, this is like the second episode, the way they represented the Bride's story there is my favorite iteration of that story, I think.
Yeah, that was one of the things that struck me so far about Creature Commandos. I don't want to get too far off into a Creature Commando tangent and bring us off track.
It's related.
But the Bride of Frankenstein plotline, I wasn't expecting it at all, and it's become one of my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah, Frankenstein is really a problem, but it's a very interesting character. I know Jean's not a fan of him.
Not in Creature Commandos. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Frankenstein, just not a fan of this Frankenstein version. This version of Frankenstein.
Yeah. So we found out in the DCU, the Belle Reeve is located in St. Roch, Louisiana, which in the comics is apparently the home of Hawkgirl and Hawkman. It's a fictional city not existing in our real world. Whereas in the DCEU, they had said that that Belle Reeve was in Terrebonne Parish in Louisiana, which is a real place. So it seems like they're leaning more into the fictional cities in the DCU.
Yeah.
I like it. What do you think?
Yeah, so do I.
Me too. Gives them a lot more freedom.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess that the research that, I was talking last week about, Rick was reading up about quantum entanglement and stuff on his computer. I guess that was probably Lex's work, is my assumption now. I did like that Lex had the leg injury, as you pointed out, Sean, that Crypto kicked his ass. Gunn said it will be healed by Man of Tomorrow, so I guess it's going to be a few more months at least in between. And the internet is freaking out over this whole thing.
General Flag, what an unexpected delight.
Lex.
Last time I saw you, you were denying metahumans were a threat. And now it seems they're taking over the world.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, the Justice Gang and Superman determining international politics. Meanwhile, I'm here in Belle Reve listening to a bear-sized man with dragon skin butt fucking a glowing twink with cartoon eyes in a cell beside me every night.
Good gosh. I mean,
So the bear-sized man with dragon skin, I think the first thing I thought of, and it seems like everyone else online saying the same thing, Killer Croc, last seen in Belle Reve in the DCEU after Suicide Squad. I don't know if you have any other ideas, John, but I don't know. I think the internet wants to know who's the glowing twink with cartoon eyes.
yeah, I'm very confused. I don't know. And I don't want to think about it. All I thought about in that moment, I'm watching and I'm like, oh, thank God E's not here. I would have to explain this.
Children should not be watching this show.
Should not be watching this show. Exactly. Don't let your 9-year-old watch Peacemaker. That's my opinion. But it's just like, wow, this makes for a conversation piece with your 9-year-old if your 9-year-old were around watching Peacemaker. So yeah, I don't know who they're talking about, actually. I did think about Killer Croc, but I who he's
the
raping?
Glowing twink with cartoon. Well, they didn't say
Oh,
rape.
he didn't say rape.
It was
Let me not say.
non-consensual.
Let me take that back. They didn't say it was not consensual. So I really don't know. I don't know.
Nothing could have prepared me for the slew of words that came out of Lex Luthor's mouth in that scene. If there was going to be someone to say those words, I wouldn't have picked him.
I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised Nicholas Hoult was game. I really recommend anyone who wants to see Nicholas Hoult just go full ham. I loved Renfield. It's also with Nicolas Cage, who's another. Yeah, Nicolas Cage is one of my. I just think he's so much fun to watch. So watch Renfield. But yeah, that was a lot. I knew he was going to show up, but I didn't expect that he was going to. His bitterness would come out in that R-rated way.
Mm.
Apparently, he's sentenced to 265 years, I guess, for the rift in the city thing.
Yeah, for everything.
Yeah, and then the locking people up, that's probably a thing too. Yeah. He wants to be transferred to get away from the metahumans, I guess. Like, okay, so later Rick says that he'll transfer him to Van Cole, which I believe is in Metropolis, right, Sean?
Yes.
And this, I don't know, but I wonder, I don't know if that was what Lex wanted or Rick picked it because it's part of this quote unquote opportunity for redemption where they're going to be partners, which makes me wonder if Rick's going to be stepping into the Amanda Waller role because maybe Viola Davis is too busy.
Interesting. I would think Viola Davis would want to be involved.
I mean, she's still out there somewhere. There's being vague about it. And there's still, maybe this is why the TV show had to be shelved, is it's hard to coordinate with her because she's a very successful actress.
That's true too.
Not that Frank Grillo isn't, but he and James Gunn are besties. So,
yeah. And this being a DC project, I would imagine probably pays very well. So I'm sure that she would want to take the opportunity to do a role like this when she gets the chance, for sure.
And she's such Amanda Waller is such a juicy character, for someone to play.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love Viola Davis's, interpretation of the character. I love how she plays her. So I would hope we get to see more of her in this role.
Yeah. Yeah, I think even in the comics I've seen they kind of start drawing her like her.
Yeah, they do. They do.
my question about this transferring Lex thing is, okay, so I was just talking about how they overlapped, that he was, James Gunn was writing Creature Commando, he was writing Peacemaker Season 2 and Superman at the same time. And at the end of Superman, why have Lex be sent to Belle Reve? What was the reason for sending him there if he's just going to be transferred away? So either it's not going to go through, or is there something about him being there that's going to be important in the future?
What do you mean?
I mean, at the end of Superman, they said we're going to send him to Belle Reve, which was already an interesting choice because it's for metahumans and it's far away. It's in Louisiana, whereas
Right.
Metropolis is, and now they're going to send him back to Metropolis. Why send him to Belle Reve in the first place? It's not like they changed their minds because James Gunn wrote it at the same time.
But I think that's his motivation to helping Rick is to get you out of Belle Reve.
Like, but why did they send him to Belle Reve?
Because Belle Reve is considered to be the most maximum security facility in the DC universe.
All right.
What better way to punish someone who has such a hatred of metahumans than putting them in a prison full of them?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you think there's pettiness involved too?
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, people do that in the real world all the time. They send people who are doing time, hundreds and sometimes thousands of miles away from where their family and friends are.
Or you think that Rick just wanted to like soften Lex up so that he didn't know yet about obviously Peacemaker's rift. He didn't know he was going to want something from him, but
I don't think it had anything to do with what's happening now. I just think at the end of the Soups movie, it was like, all right, we're going to put him in the most secure facility that we have, and that happens to be Belle Reve.
Okay. All right. Do you guys have any other thoughts about the DCU side of the universe before we take another break?
Yeah, just, when Flag Sr. says he's offering him an opportunity for redemption, I immediately thought about Man of Tomorrow, which is reportedly, allegedly going to be about Lex and Soups, working together against a far larger threat. So this is where his redemption arc leads to.
Yeah.
Right. So we're seeing the beginnings of that, which I thought was really brilliant. So it doesn't come out of the blue when we get Superman, Man of Tomorrow, to see them actually working together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, James Gunn said that this season finale was going to be as important as anything else in setting up that movie. So interesting. Did you have any final DCU thoughts, Aaron?
Just that I thought it was interesting that Rick Flag chooses to say that Lex Luthor is their partner now, not we got what we needed from him. He intentionally calls him their partner. So I think his involvement is going to be a lot more than what I initially thought when that cameo came up.
Yeah, good point. All right, on that note, we'll take a quick break and then we'll talk about the other side.
And we're back to the other side. In the Smith mansion, Keith catches Hardcore in Chris's room. She pretends to be alternate dimension Amelia, while the others hide around the corner. Amelia, caught in her own tangled web of bad lies, leaves with Keith so that he can drive her to Argus, where she pretended to be going. Adrian also leaves to visit his own house in the alternate universe, where he finds many little details changed, but his locks and his personality have not, with one major exception. This vigilante hates Peacemaker and the rest of the top trio, and is a member of the Sons of Liberty.
So, yeah. Aaron, were you surprised to find that, let me quote Jessica here, said, obsessed with Adrian being exactly the same as our Adrian, Nexus being confirmed.
I loved it. I thought even down to the last detail of the locks being the same was just perfect. Same favorite Pokemon. This guy being a constant across the multiverse just tracks so much. He's such a unique personality.
I noted down what the differences are, and they're so minor. So there's slightly different lawn ornaments and like interior tchotchkes, but I wouldn't notice. It's cheery O's. We see things keep being spelled differently in this universe. The our vigilante wears silver rimmed glasses. The other vigilante wears gold rimmed glasses. He walks by. Oh yeah, and he says, "Dad is not gay," which probably, I'm assuming he's not any different. He's just closeted because he lives in Nazi world.
Agreed. Yeah.
So it's actually a sad moment, but of course it goes right over his head. Apparently on the podcast, they were talking about there was a version where James Gunn considering he would walk by and see his mom making out with Economos and just be like, ha 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 ha.
That's
Just
too
the
much.
same reaction.
Yeah. Glad they cut that one.
Also, I think that James Gunn maybe took a beat and thought about it and was like, well, what would be the differences for his family in this universe? Well, Dad's not coming out.
Right.
And yeah, obviously the major one is Peacemaker is his enemy, not his friend, which Vigilante, for all of his murderous serial killing ways, is always anti-fascist.
Also another perfect
Yay.
addition to his character.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
yay. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so if he's not besties with Peacemaker in this universe, who has replaced that gaping hole in his life? Is it the Sons of Liberty, or do you think there's someone else? What do you think, Aaron? Is he like the Sons of Liberty his bestie, or is there another singular bestie for this version of Adrian?
I think that Adrian will fixate on one individual to be his best friend. So I'm curious to see if there's some metahuman leader of the Sons of Liberty who's going to be his universe's Peacemaker. I don't know if it'll be a character like they've teased a little bit that maybe there's a Blue Beetle or a Booster Gold in this alternate universe. So I wonder if maybe that's going to be the stand-in.
Oh yeah, because Blue Beetle, he is has a Latin background, so
right,
we're not seeing that in the Universe X either.
Yeah, and can I just say, I want to go and talk about August for a second.
Yeah.
And say that something I'm not quite buying about this alternate universe is that August is this loving father in the other universe, because I think from real world experience, this type of guy who, even if he has every messed up desire that he could ever dream of and want, someone like that is never satisfied and will never be a good person, or not good, obviously not a good person, but never be a kind person to their children. And I'm not a fan of the way that he is seemingly not an abusive, horrible person in this alternate universe to his children. I think that he still would be, and that's kind of where his character takes me out in this alternate universe.
So, okay, here's a question, something I was going to bring up in another scene. I'll bring it up now. So Economist points out, reverse Peacemaker is rolling in it. So we said, okay, maybe that makes it, the fact that he is rich, maybe that helps. But also, maybe it seems like his sons are maybe more obedient. And what I was thinking about is, later he's talking to Chris and saying that, he's been troubled, and we know that he's been taking pills. And what is Chris repressing, or what is he troubled about? Maybe this Augie is only nice when you step in line, and Chris is often not stepping in line, perhaps. Is my clumsy thing I'm trying to say. What do you think?
I think we've had some clues that alternate universe Chris is bisexual, much like the mainline universe Chris, and that would absolutely be something that August would be against. We have, a few episodes ago, alternate universe Harcourt alludes to not wanting her heart broken because Chris was curious, which I think was intentional language. And I think that we just have all of these clues pointing to that. So I think you might be spot on there that he probably has been terrible and abusive to Chris because of things that he can't change about himself, and that he's only being nice now because Chris has fallen in line with his idea of a perfect son.
Yeah.
Totally agree. We see this supposedly happy family, but how did they get to that point? Which is the question, right? Yeah, they're all sitting around laughing, the father and his two sons and things of that nature. But there's nothing real about this world that would make you think that this is the best possible of all dimensions. You know what I mean? Like, Chris is blinded because he wants to be happy. So he sees in the moment these pictures of, his family supposedly in loving embrace of each other and acceptance, but how much of that is actually real? And from the very beginning, I don't think any of us thought it was actually real. You know what I mean? Just like we didn't think that this world that he entered into could ever be the best possible of all dimensions. There's always something off. And just like we don't see people of color, we don't see any signs that there is hostility within this family, which is a facade.
Which is suspect. Yeah.
Right. Which is ultimately very suspect. So yeah, I agree totally that there's no way that this person who we know could ever be this loving, gentle, caring, empathetic father. Impossible. And he's a Nazi.
Yeah.
Doesn't track.
The thing is, when we saw young Keith in Our Dimension in season 1, he did seem like he was rebellious against his father, which was maybe part of why his father was more bitter, in addition to just not living in his dream world. But this Keith, like when Hardcore starts talking about rancid shits, his face, you just know that Amelia would never. And he points out to her, "You're wearing black and you're wearing pants." She's like, "What do I usually wear? My underwear." It's just, I have, I'm going to bring up in a little bit, I have questions about this other Amelia and if she is who she seems to be on the surface, but definitely they are used to Amelia behaving in a certain way as well.
Yes.
Ladylike.
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
So as much as I love the Spider-Man memeing scene that everyone's going crazy about, I might like even better the snow globe scene between Amelia and Keith when she gets caught in the room and the awkwardness, but especially the credit scene version of it, which goes something like,
"That's what our mother gave him on her deathbed."
Yeah, she was a lovely lady. Yeah, she was really nice to me. We had a great connection, she and I.
She passed away when he was 2.
Right. Yeah, we talk to her sometimes.
In the afterlife?
Yes, she's a ghost.
Okay.
She, haunts.
She haunts. There are ghosts in Marvel. Are there ghosts in DC that you know of?
Yeah, there are ghosts.
Okay.
The supernatural does exist, yeah.
Could be. I love that. And also I love the Economos' reaction to that is like a worse gag reflex than even when he saw Red Saint Wild eating eagle shit. Like, it's making me,
Right.
Again, I say they should have kept John in the car. Just you can't bring everybody along, and it's okay. You're still the homie. We still love you, but you can't go on this drive-by with us. No, you cannot stay here.
But you want to leave him in the other universe where he can snitch to Argus?
I would have much rather John not go into the QUC. Absolutely.
Just have Mrs. Chase hold him hostage.
Yeah. Keep him in the house. Keep him in the house, definitely. Can't go on this mission with us. Can't do it.
Yeah, I think he'd had a much better time playing D&D with Mrs. Chase than he
Absolutely.
would going to this alternate universe.
And I think everybody would be safer, because he's not. You have to know the strengths and the weaknesses of your crew. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You
For
got to
sure.
be able to tell your peoples like,
But
hey,
he surprised last season over and over in a physical way. So it's his turn to, this is his opportunity to grow. And also for Vigilante, who denies crying over Chris, which, okay, dude, we all saw it.
yeah, we all saw
I don't know if you know, but we're watching.
it.
Yeah. We have a hardcore vention. While his friends secretly explore his new world, Chris enjoys being surrounded and loved by the Earth 2 versions of his dad, his still living brother, and Amelia. Chris leaves the other Amelia at her house in the shower to head to Argus, where he finds his hardcore being taken into lockup after setting off the Argus guard dog, since of course she's still dusted with Adrian's cocaine. Hardcore is then taken into custody and drug tested and is released. But while she's in custody, Chris confronts her privately in a very emotional conversation where he tells her he's in love with her, even when she's picking fistfights with random dudes in bars and lying to him about it. This was a really heartfelt conversation. I felt that this is maybe the first time this season that they were able to be really honest with each other without outside pressures getting in the way of it.
Yeah. Yeah, James Gunn said before that there was something that made him always cry, and I'm guessing that this was it. That was the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it was rich of Peacemaker to pour his heart out when he's sleeping with her doppelganger, just saying. Although I guess at least she knows, but the other Amelia presumably doesn't. But yeah, she also points out, she says, he should have known that if she took him down, there must be a good reason, and it hurt her feelings that he didn't. Jean, do you think that's fair of her?
No,
No? See, I knew you were going to say that. But I do. I think
no,
it is for the record, but you say why
no.
not?
I don't think it's fair at all because she's given him no reason to think otherwise up until this point.
For sure.
So no, that's not. That may be true, and it may be your intention, and may be what you're thinking, but your behavior has not suggested that at all.
See, I think that Adebayo has the best moral compass, and she immediately was like, "No, there must have been a reason."
Adebayo isn't Chris though.
No, I know it's true.
You gotta, you can't be. You have to be able to manage your friends. I mean, you got to know what makes your friends, and the people you care about, how to get through to them. And she obviously, to me, has not done a good job with that with Chris.
Yeah. And I really hope this next episode's cold open is the damn boat already.
We may never know what happened on that boat.
They can make a whole spin-off series just
exactly
on the boat.
about the
boat. We talked about this a bit before, but just the fact that our hardcore immediately sees driving around that she's like, this world's weird. Why are there only white people?
Yep.
But her alternate version seems to be Team Nazi. I don't know. I have questions about this alternate hardcore. If she is who she seems like, okay, apparently she's a book nerd. I want to know immediately what kinds of books is she reading?
Right.
And she said, when she stayed behind, she wanted to stay behind in the apartment because she's got some stuff to take care of. What stuff? I want to know what stuff. And do you guys share any questions about this other hardcore? Or do you think she's, as it looks on the surface, just part of the Nazi propaganda?
No, I do, because she's comfortable with this Chris, who is not her Chris in any shape, way, or form.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine that would have gone unnoticed to her.
Mm-hmm.
This new sensitivity, this new, trying to be a better person, it makes me question whether she's, along for the Nazi ride, or is she along for the Nazi ride to try to sabotage the Nazis? Because if she was just squarely along for the Nazi ride, she would have went to White Dragon and been like, "Yo, something's wrong with your son.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on here?" And she didn't, or she hasn't, that we know of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like you said, it would be really interesting to see this universe's Emilia collecting information on the top trio in order to give it to the Sons of Liberty,
Right.
have some sort of connection. Maybe this universe's Peacemaker to Vigilante is Amelia Harcourt instead. That'd be kind of an interesting
Oh, that
thing to see.
Emilia and Vigilante are besties in this universe?
Yeah.
That would kind of be nice after she was rude. You know, she's been the most Adrian resistant of the group, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And she was even like, she was telling ads, Lee, don't give in to the Adrian vortex. Yeah. Yeah, it just makes me, if Vigilante is anti-racist actively, very actively in both universes, it's interesting that this hardcore would notice that so quickly and the other one would just be like, well, this is the way things are. Unless she was just indoctrinated differently from a very young age.
That could
That's
be true too.
That's why I want to know, what kind of books is she reading?
Mm. And what does the history of this universe look like? How long has this Nazi regime been in charge of America for?
Right. Like her entire life, or?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we also find out the biggest bands in the world in this universe are Beatles with 2 E's, and the lead singer is Mick Jagger instead of Paul McCartney. So there's no Rolling Stones. So the other biggest band in the world is Halloween, which is a real band in our world. And thanks to Riley for sharing a video in the Discord. And yeah, they're fun hair metal band, as Riley pointed out, a fun German hair metal band. So I mean, I guess like the Earth X in the comics, I think is just basically Hitler won World War II, right? So I'm assuming the same here.
Yeah.
So their entire lives.
But I don't know. Time. I have a question about the time variances, if there are any, between the DCU and Earth X. So we need the backstory of how long this regime has been in place. How long has this existed on in this society? Because it seems pretty entrenched.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It does, to me. It doesn't feel like the way that everything is operating. It doesn't feel like this was a 5-year thing. It feels like this was generational.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In Chris's slight defense, in addition to just sticking his head in the sand, it seems like I was paying attention to this in my rewatch. It seems like he's been here maybe one night, because he was still covered in kaiju goo in the first scene we saw him with them. So that must have been right after the end of the last episode. And then we saw him in bed with Emilia looking happy, and then they're taking a shower. So I guess that's basically, he fought the kaiju, went to bed with Emilia, and now we're now. So I guess it is interesting that James Gunn signaled to the audience something weird was going to happen at the beginning. I liked the whole thing where the faces melt and the music distorts going into the opening dance. But sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, I was just going to agree with you that was a great detail.
But just, yeah, I mentioned the whole thing that they brought up how different gestures mean different things in different universes. I noticed when they took the picture with the kids, Keith did 3 fingers instead of a peace sign. So I guess that's like the top trio.
Third Reich.
Oh, that too.
That's what I thought of.
Oh, is that an existing sign in our world?
No, I don't think so. At least I'm not aware if that is, but that's just what I thought of when I saw the 3 fingers.
Yeah. 3 finger salute. Oh, well, of course, no, yeah, there's the version where you hold your fingers together, and that's pro-democracy that comes from Hunger Games. but this is different where they are. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, you're right. I don't know. If we're missing a gesture, let us know. But Chris gave a thumbs up, and I had a thought, like, what if that means something else
I
here?
know, right?
Harry Lime asked an interesting question on Discord. Who is running Argus in this universe? Is it still Rick Flag Sr. or is it someone else? We know Amanda Waller never did.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's true. Who is running Argus?
It would be interesting to see Rick Flag Sr. not only meet his alternate universe son, which is going to be a total moment for him,
Yeah.
without a doubt, but also meeting an alternate universe version of himself would be really freaky for him. I don't think he can handle that. He doesn't have the emotional maturity.
Yeah. Yeah. They better give us the meeting between Rick Flag Sr. and Jr.
Oh, I don't think they can end this season without having done that. It'll be a big miss if they don't end up having the two of them meet each other.
Yeah. All right. Well, the episode ends with the jig is up. Amelia arrives at Argus and finds Chris with Harcourt, who has just pointed out to Chris that there are no people of color in this universe, leading him to discover the American flags on all the desks have swastikas instead of stars on them. Earth 2, Amelia demands the other Harcourt be arrested. Back in the Smith mansion, left behind by Vigilante and Harcourt, Adebayo and Economos discover Eagly digging through the fridge for food and clean up after him. Adebayo then decides to go for a walk while they wait for their friends to return, and she begins to notice people staring at her. Keith leads the charge to capture, quote-unquote, the Black, chasing Adebayo down, while Augie discovers Economos in his house and tackles him, stabbing a knife through his hand, prompting Economos to tell Augie everything, especially that their Chris killed and replaced his own son. The shit has officially hit the fan. Sub-Zero says, the unprompted confession was so vintage Economos, I'm convinced... Oh, and then has a theory. I'm convinced one of the Adrians will die, and my money is on the Prime Universe Adrian.
Oh, wow.
I didn't see that.
Oh.
So the official DC podcast, they have James Gunn doing the podcast, but they also have their regular host talking about the episodes every 2 episodes at a time. And so that most recent episode, that version, they said something that made me wonder if they would parent trap the Adrians. And fitting with Sub-Zero's theory, it could be a fake out that our Adrian dies, but it was the other one if they switch. I don't know. This is getting complicated, but why not?
I think you'll have a lot of fans up in arms if anything happens
if an Adrian dies.
Yeah.
Either one of them.
Yeah, and I liked Eagly did get that one. Like I said, Eagly got only one good scene, and we hear
Eagly!
Oh.
Dude, what are you doing? Creating a mess. Oh boy. God.
Ugh.
Yeah, we gotta clean this up.
Oh, we're traveling between dimensions to clean up Eagly's bullshit? Fuck, Jesus.
Okay, all right.
So, I mean, not just the D. Bradley Baker of it all we talked about last episode, but the sound mixing overall there. You could, this is a squishy squelchiness. It's so good. The sound is really well done on the show.
I think Eagly's trying to tell them something here.
Well, to be fair, Eagly was also messing up Chris's other house.
I know, but the first thing he does when he sees them is takes a shit. Eagly's trying to tell them, this is not cool where we're at.
This is not the place.
This is not the place to be.
Yeah, and I wonder, was August tipped off that John was in the room because Eagly had messed up everything in the fridge? Because we see him come into the room and he looks in his fridge right away and he kind of stands there like he knows something is off.
Well, I guess there's a lot of food missing.
Yeah.
And so he assumes that man ate it, broke in to eat his food. Yeah, and as Hardcore says to Chris, this is your perfect world, huh?
I mean,
to his credit, he unfurled the flag, but yeah, she called him out and he deserved that.
Absolutely. Yeah, just steeped in the privilege of being able to not notice that something is going on, for sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but even, I'm trying to place myself in, I don't think I would have left the house, honestly.
In the other universe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Once,
I just wouldn't be walking around. You don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, exactly. Once Amelia got caught in her web and had to leave, I don't think I would have left personally.
No. I mean, worst case scenario, they could have positioned themselves so they could retreat to the library and through the door.
Yes.
Or, I mean, Economos was not wrong when he was like, can we wait in the QUC? Although they wouldn't know when he came back, of course.
Right. But that's the thing. I think I would have done that. And her wanting to go out and explore led me to think again what I thought earlier about her wondering what her life would be like in the best possible dimension. And she's getting the awakening that, shit is terrible where I'm at right now. I'm in a fucked up situation. But gosh, it could be so much worse.
Mm.
And what a horrible way to get that slap in the face. Like, the gosh, things could be so much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just, I wouldn't have left the house. I would not have gone exploring.
Yeah. And another thing I'm left with is, what is a resolution to this universe going to look like? Is the 11th Street Kid gang gonna...
You know me. Yeah.
We don't want to kill innocent people.
Who's innocent?
I don't know. The Sons of Anarchy. Sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
No, I don't know if the resolution, if they have enough time to tear down a whole regime, or if it's just going to be, let's get the hell out of here. This place is horrifying.
I think it's the latter. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Is that satisfying?
No.
What if they take both Adrians with them?
I think alternate universe Adrian seems invested in this fight enough that he would try to pull the other, or our Adrian, into it with him rather than the other way around.
Yeah. But so maybe they really are going to, our Adrian might actually be forced to choose between his other self and Chris.
Oh. I mean, it's an easy choice for me.
Yeah. Is this going to be the buildup that we've seen of Chris ignoring him all the time?
Yeah, right. And also, I mean, and it's also just interesting that, he helped Chris chop up his other self. Will he be so callous with his own doppelganger? What's the obvious choice for you, Jean?
Oh, I'm choosing my other self.
Okay.
If I'm Adrian, I'm choosing Adrian.
Yeah.
I could visit my mom every now and then, but I'm choosing this because this is what this fight here is what he's been looking for his entire life.
Maybe we obviously don't want Vigilante to leave the show.
No, not at all.
But I could see him and GI Robot becoming friends.
I could see that too. But I just feel like, our Adrian he's been preparing for this since he became a vigilante, since he became the vigilante.
A righteous fight.
And thinking of, everything that's in his bunker and what he said. And while they were in the bunker, in the basement, like, this is his fight. This is what he's been trying to do. So I would think he would choose his other self over Chris. I think I would do that. I don't know if he's going to, but I would do that if I were him.
What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I really totally align with you on this, Sean. I can't see him choosing our Peacemaker after the pain. And they just get each other on a level that only you can get yourself.
I don't know. I mean, I think he's in a way, as much as he's capable of feeling this, he's in love with Chris. And I can just see it coming down to him having to choose and going back. And we'll see how it plays out. And how do you think Judo Master is going to re-enter this story?
I think that when we see Rick Flag and whatever crew he's putting together finally enter the alternate dimension, that's when we're going to see Judo Master pop his head back up. I think he's in total hiding right now, but he's also a really perceptive person, and he would be the type of guy that has eyes everywhere. He's trying to figure out, how do I get back? How do I find allies in this place? So I think when they come through that door, he'll be ready and waiting for them to meet back up.
I was just thinking, like, broad strokes here, just thinking to the question, what's the resolution? And what if the resolution is Man of Tomorrow?
Yeah, I think that it does seem that this is pointing into the next film.
So who could the big bad be?
Brainiac.
I don't know.
I don't think we're ready for Darkseid yet. I think it's too soon for that.
But what if we are talking about some other evil versions of the heroes that we know of?
Well, he mentioned, okay, so Economos made a quip, reverse Peacemaker. Do you want to explain that to people who don't get it?
Well, there's Reverse Flash, who Flash is the speedster of the DC universe, who's able to go run at such excessive speeds using something called the Speed Force. He could travel between dimensions and time. So Reverse Flash is someone who's dedicated his life to trying to kill the DC hero Flash, who has the same powers and actually set up something that's called Flashpoint, where the DC universe was changed because Reverse Flash was able to change one thing that happened, and that caused Barry to go and find a universe where everything was upside down. So when Economos says Reverse Flash, you think of other heroes who may have doppelgangers in this universe. A evil Superman, a evil Batman, where there is precedent in the DC comics for these heroes. Ultraman, who everybody thought was in the Supes movie. We thought it would be Ultraman. It turned out maybe it's a origin story for Bizarro. But Ultraman is an alternate version of Superman who has his own Justice League. They're evil, who rule with an iron fist over their planet. So I started thinking when Aaron said, what's the end game? How does the resolution come? The resolution, we may not see the resolution for this Earth X in this series. Maybe the resolution would be in the Superman movie, Man of Tomorrow, where Lex and he have to band together to defeat some sort of greater threat, right?
And the greater threat could be a reverse Superman?
Yeah.
Or Ultraman?
Ultraman, a full-on Nazi invasion of superheroes.
That'd be really interesting.
And Aaron, you mentioned whatever group Rick's putting together to go into the other universe. So we saw in the preview for next week that there's some man who's brought in and asks, what's my reason for helping you? He's in handcuffs. And James Gunn said on the podcast, or said that we already know who he is because he's been in promos. Do you have an idea who that might be?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I can't think of someone we already know. Huh.
He's been in promos? I've been watching the promos. I'm not sure. Either of you?
I really couldn't even begin to imagine. I mean, that clue of it's someone we should already know, I feel throws me off even more than if I had not known that. I feel like I'm missing something big, and I'm going to be totally kicking myself in the behind next week when they reveal it.
Yeah. Who he was in handcuffs? Who would be? I mean, is it Lex again? No,
It's somebody that we should know. So Yeah, I don't know. I see a lot of people online saying that it's Lex's henchman, Happerson.
Oh, okay. Just okay. So not like just he had his whole crew that was supporting him in the Superman movie.
Yeah, that would be disappointing if it was.
I mean, you don't have to be so coy.
I mean, you might as well just show me if it's Happerson. Like, it's not a. It's not a big reveal, bro. I'm just saying.
All right, maybe we shouldn't fixate on it then. We'll see next week.
We'll see who it is.
It sounds like episode 8's going to be the big one for the reveals. I think next week's just going to be dealing with, obviously, the fallout of where we got left off this week. Do you have any hopes for next week, Aaron?
Yeah, I would really like to see a whole lot of resolution coming in the next episode. We've been building up so much this season, and I want to see the majority of the resolution come in this next episode, and then have episode 8 to kind of set up what's going to be coming next in the DCU.
Okay.
That would be my perfect setup.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think that makes sense. Well, yeah, 2 episodes remaining. Next week's title is Like a Keith in the Night. So Keith like a thief. It was apparently going to be the Reich stuff, but James Gunn figured the titles would leak early.
Yeah.
But we figured it out anyway, James Gunn. Sorry. Anyway, check the show notes if you want to hear any of our coverage for previous DCU entries like Superman and Creature Commandos, and of course all previous episodes of Peacemaker season 2 and a season 1 recap, and our DCEU funeral Sean and I did when we said bye-bye to the DCEU. Marvel fans, we've discussed it, and we're covering Marvel Zombies after we finish Peacemaker because it's just
a lot.
Life demands one thing at a time. And it'll be October then, so it's perfect for zombie talk. What's going on, Aaron, on Radioactive Ramblings?
Well, at the moment we are running a little bit behind schedule on our coverage of the new season of Gen V. We've had a lot of scheduling conflicts and personal things happening that have prevented us from recording our episode 1 through 3 review. So we're going to end up wrapping episodes 1 through 4 up into a single episode. And it's our hope that by the time we get that episode out, we will be ready for our week by week coverage for the second half of the season. So we are running behind, and we are very sorry for that, but it is coming. We are going to have coverage coming of it, and as broad or as much of the coverage of that show as we can possibly get out.
I think episode 4 was my favorite from so far. Yeah.
I wasn't a particular fan of 1 through 3, but episode 4 really brought me back into the fold.
Okay, good. Makes sense to cover it together. Yeah, I'm enjoying the season so far. I mean, I think it's like the typical, over the top, how like we think, John was comparing the show to Peacemaker, to The Boys without having seen it. And sure, this is definitely like you're going to have Lex Luthor talk about 2 characters butt fucking in the prison next to him. But Gen V takes it to a whole new level. I mean, not as much as The Boys either.
Yeah. And if I can just shout out that the actress who plays Marie in Gen V is just, she's in a class of her own among everyone else in the cast. Not that everyone else isn't fantastic, but she's just the standout, absolutely, in this season.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, Marie and Jordan are my favorites, so I'm glad that, sorry, spoiler for season 1, but I'm glad that they're, I'm invested in their story, most of all.
Absolutely.
Well, Aaron, by the way, thank you again for the cover art for Peacemaker, and of course for joining us here.
I always love to open up Canva and mess around in there. I made a fun little alien Earth emoji the other day, even though I haven't seen the show. It was a lot of fun.
You made a cute alien eyes. Why? It's just terrifying. Don't make it any more cuter. Don't make it a cute thing. You want people to run, not want to hug it. Like,
We love our septipie.
Yes.
Heptipie.
Still got to remove that extra limb.
You can find a link to Radioactive Ramblings in the show notes if you want to follow their Gen V and other coverage. And you'll also find in the link tree in the show notes links to all the other affiliates in the network. Never mind the music. I've recorded a sidetrack with them, but it's not going to come out until November. It's
oh, okay.
because unlike us, they plan well ahead. Properly Howard wrapping up their Bacon Wrap season, Woolshift Dust doing Dune, and also Frankenstein coming soon, and the Star Wars Canon Timeline podcast. Jean, what's going on in the main Lorehounds feed?
Just real quick, we just finished Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
Just finished watching it?
Yeah, we just finished watching it. E and I have started, he wanted to go through the movies in order. So we've gone from Phantom Menace, and now we've just finished Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And did you watch Solo?
No.
You got to show him Solo. Let him decide for himself. It's such a good one for kids.
He can decide for himself when he's 30. No.
How did he take sorry, spoiler for Star Wars, but how did he take Anakin's turn?
Oh man, he was yeah. He took it. He was just like, "Oh man, why did he have to go?" And I explained to him in all the ways that the Jedi forced his hand.
Indoctrination complete.
And he totally got it. He understood. He understood. Oh my, what a great thing. The Jedi hate runs strong in this family. Okay. So also on the Lorehound main feed, we have Foundation Season 3 wrap-up coming early next week. We have the Alien Earth wrap-up coming later next week as well. And David has got some more episodes planned.
Yeah.
I think he just dropped the finale episode for Alien Earth.
Yeah, but I know there's some more things that I see in the calendar, but I don't want to say anything about them until he does. So, but he's got some more one-off episodes planned. He's been having fun with that, and people have been enjoying them. So, great. Watch out for more of that to come in. If you have any thoughts or feelings about Peacemaker or anything DC or Marvel, send your feedback to comicsvs at thelorehounds.com. You'll find that linked in the show notes as well. And also in that link tree in the show notes is the link to the Discord, where we have a forum with spoiler chats per episode of Peacemaker under current shows, or if you're listening later, under franchises. And you can also help us for free by sharing this episode with anyone else who's enjoying Peacemaker and wants that wants to hear the full psych analysis of all the characters. And also you can help by leaving positive ratings and reviews wherever you're listening. That is an enormous help to help more people find our show. And just thank you, though. If you're listening to this at all, then you are also helping us enormously. If you want to go a step further into the Lorehounds community, Supercast and Patreon subscribers get ad-free access to all of our episodes plus bonus content. You can sign up for one-time season passes for seasons of certain TV shows, like the new Alien Earth season pass, where there's, by the way, we're going to do a Frankenstein episode, David and I, for the season pass, comparing Frankenstein to both Boy K and his monsters.
Nice.
And of course, monthly subscribers have access to all of that, plus extra episodes like What You Watchin' and Second Breakfast. And 11Z's voting is going on now for this year's Spooktober franchise for the 11Z's Movie Club. And that also affects the public feed, because for Spooktober, there are 2 episodes, one public, one private. And I'll say I'm happy about what's winning currently. It's Weapons in first place. And subscribers will hear our lore down between Barbarian and Companion. But Jaws is nipping at its heels, so it could be anybody's game still. All right. So, in honor of it being a scary place, I went into the horror folder this time for the thank yous. And because I'm worried about Autobio, this one is called Stalked. Thank you to our Discord server boosters, Aaron K, Tiller the Thriller, Duve71, Athena Ajalea, Lestu, Nancy M, Ghost of Perdition, Radioactive Richard, and Adrian. Thank you especially to our highest tier of subscribers, our lore masters, Zamartian, Michael G, Michelle E, Brian P, SC, Peter OH, Adam S, Nancy M, Duve71, Brian 8063, Frederick H, Sarah L, Gareth C, Matthew M, Sarah M, Andrew B, Kwang Yu, Jedi Bob, Nathan T, Sub-Zero, Aaron K, Sally V, Mothership 61, Gnarls, Kathy W, Liz Stu, Jeffrey B, Elysia U, Neil F, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Carly S, Ilmariel, /Tim, Paul K, Bobby C, Rocky Zim, Jessica H, Red Zippy, the TCS, new lore master Mixie, and always last Adrian. Aaron, last words?
Keep doing what you're doing, James Gunn. Can't wait to see what you cook up for us next week.
Okay. And Sean, you're going to ignore James Gunn again?
I'm ignoring James Gunn. And I'm going straight to Kevin Feige. I will be coming at you every week, bro. Recast T'Challa. Damson Idris is T'Challa.
The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by The Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback and voicemails at thelorehounds.com/contact. Get early and ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at patreon.com/thelorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities. Thanks for listening.
Okay, here's one. What's the best Pokemon? Infernape. Yes! Oh, what's the best thing to press your face against? Shag carpeting. Yes! But what's the worst thing to softly touch you?
Human skin. Yes.